Here is Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
All right. Welcome to the Gridiron, baby. If you can give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose? It's totally free of charge. But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. Hear my dog's on. I think he's right next to you. Anyway, if you want to help support my channel, the description box below, very top link, takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So once again, if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. I thank you in advance. Once again, thank you. And then finally, just underneath that, there's another link in that description box. Takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, The Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 10,700 members in the group, and it is doing simply marvelous. There he is. Simply marvelous, my dad. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I got internet access, I am putting stuff in this group darn near 365. It's called the New York Giants, The Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. Well, one thing we could probably, I don't want to be Nancy negativity, but at least over the past few weeks, one thing we have been unsatisfied with has been the play of the New York Football Giants. And tomorrow they have a chance to right the ship, or as they've done the past couple weeks, just continue to steer the Titanic into that iceberg and just splatter the Titanic into a million pieces and just watch it go down into the bottom of the abyss, and nobody comes out alive. What's it gonna be, huh? It almost gets to be. It's like, how are we gonna this game up? What are we gonna do tomorrow? Could be a pretty, could be one of those weather games, kind of like, been seeing all kinds of different types of forecasts. I mean, possibly rain, possibly some snow, possibly some wind gusts, possibly wind. So, where are we at here? Is this in here? It could have some weather-related games. Now, and also that includes the Eagles and the Packers too. But I think that's a nighttime game. But let me read this over here real fast. So this could be quite interesting. NFL Week 10 weather. Giants versus the Bears and Eagles versus Packers among games to watch for snow and rain. Oh, I just love a good. Snow. I love snow. Nothing like football in the snow, man. Absolutely. To me, snow and mud, but they're not allowed to have mud. You can't, because the fields are sodded and they can't have dirt. They're not allowed to have dirt. I think it's a new rule in the NFL. If you actually have dirt on your field, you lose your next 10 first-round draft picks. And now it's the PFL, the Pretty Football League. That's what it's called. Everything's got to be just looking absolutely perfect. Can't have any dirt or anything like that on the field. Heaven forbid. Don't want at the end of the game the guys walk off the field and there's some dirt and stuff on them. Don't want that. Don't want any. Anyway, don't get me going. But here's how the weather could impact some NFL games in Week 10. So, we got the Browns and the Jets. Okay, you got the Giants and the Bears. Let it snow. Ooh. Oh, all right, buddy. My good boy's laying down next to me. Chicago's expected to get some snow during the day Sunday and overnight into Monday. So the system is definitely going to be present in the area. How much snow actually sticks to the ground and field is another story, as temperatures will be in the low 40s by kickoff. The Bears should be able to move the ball fairly well against the Giants defense, but significant snow could hinder the passing game more than expected. So that we're going to have to keep an eye on. Let me just go here real fast here. Let's see here. Let me just type in the Weather Channel. Okay, then we're going to go Weather Channel. Let's see. Okay, let me just type in Chicago. Chicago, Illinois. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, right. As of right now, it's raining there. It's 40 degrees. What do we got here? What do we got? There's a system. Yeah, there's a system going through there. Yeah. All right. So now let's see. 2 a.m. Moderate to heavy. Yeah, it looks like it's a precipitation. Okay. Let's see how far. Next 48 hours. Let's go to the next 48 hours. This is according to the Weather Channel here. Is it going to pop up? Okay, here we go. Okay, 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Partly cloudy and windy. 36 degrees. So it just looks like now, well, I mean, as of right now, things can change in a hurry there, as you know. But it looks like might be some snow in the morning. It's about 34 degrees. So, any snow there, I mean, of course, I'm sure they'll get as much of it off as they possibly can because heaven forbid we actually get any snow on the field. Don't want any snow either. But so it looks like as of right now, the snow showers looks like as of right now, it's going to stop around 8 o'clock in the morning, according to the Weather Channel. They've been, a lot of times they're right, sometimes they're right on, sometimes they're off by a little bit. But it looks like by tomorrow afternoon, it looks like it'll be around 36 degrees. So if any type of precipitation comes by there, we could be looking at maybe some snow. But it is going to be partly cloudy and wind. And there will be some wind. The wind is in northwest at about 25 miles an hour. So it's going to be, doesn't look like, looks like any snow showers will either be before the game or after the game. Looks like there might be some snow showers at nighttime too, around 9 o'clock at night, not 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So looks like there's a possibility, obviously, no guarantee, but there's a small possibility there might be some precipitation going on during the day. That's according to the Weather Channel. Yeah, things can change in a heartbeat there. But one thing is sure, it'll be in the mid-30s, unlike what it was the past couple of weeks with the Giants playing the Eagles and the 49ers. So it's going to be a big temperature change, but it will be windy. So any balls thrown down the field are, going to be, going to have to, especially for the Giants. Well, I mean, both teams, but the Bears, they lead the league in turnover differential. That's one of the reasons why they're 5-3. Had the Giants led the league in turnover differential, I think they're like a plus 13, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to read some numbers here in a little bit, but I believe a plus 13, very impressive. I mean, at that rate, just right now, at that rate, there'd be like a plus 25 or so for the season, which would be phenomenal, which once again would be one of the reasons why, they would, if they're going to the playoffs or if they got a winning record, that would be that. Right. One thing the Giants and JAXSON DART have done very well, though, and they played the 49ers, they played the Eagles twice, they played the Chargers. They played some tough teams. Right, with JAXSON DART there. One thing, they had obviously, of course, and it just goes to show you the way the parity is, the way the NFL is. The Giants had especially JAXSON DART, by far their absolute worst turnover game by far the whole season, and especially with JAXSON DART as the quarterback. Worst turnover game against the crappiest team in football, the Saints, and that's why we lost that game, plain and simple. However, the other games that JAXSON DART has started, I think he's turned the ball over just one time. So he's done a very good job of protecting the football. That's something the Giants are going to need to do tomorrow because that's something the Bears take advantage of. They had like it was almost like a freaking Madden game last week between them, the Bears, and the Bengals. I don't think the defenses run the field last week, to be truthful. The Bears out. I think the Chicago Bulls beat the Cincinnati, Royals. Whatever the basketball team would be. I don't even know. It was like 49-42 or something, whatever, 48-42 or 48-43, something like it. It was, whew. The Bears can move the ball. Last week, they had 4 players throw passes last week. I think 3 of them, 3 different players completed a pass. It might have been more completed a pass to Williams in the end zone. So the wide receiver completed a pass to Williams, the quarterback, for a touchdown. So they had 4 different players throw passes. Now, that's something I have to be a little careful of once again, because if you can start sailing that ball down the field 30 yards or so, whatever, if it gets caught in the wind, it's fair game, obviously. So, but the Giants are going to have to do a very good job of protecting the ball. Once again, it's like if the Bears score points, make them march down the field. I mean, it's not too hard to do. I mean, the Eagles did it. What was it? 8 out of 9. I think 9 times they had the ball. They only forced them to punt one time. No, it was 7 out of 8 times. The last time was a kneel down. Was that right? Yeah. So the Eagles had the ball 8 times and they punted 1 time. So, I mean, and the 49ers just walked up and down the field on our defense. So it's not very hard, but at least give them a long field. Right? Let the Scottish Hammer boom the ball down there and let them go down the field and score some points. Right? They score well, good for them. The Bears do like to run the ball. They're averaging about 150 so yards a game rushing the ball. Our defense is absolute trash at stopping the run. So, look for a heavy dosage of Chicago's runs. But I mean, the Bears do give up some yardage too. They give up some points. So once again, this could be a high-scoring game, high-scoring affair. I mean, unless there's a bunch of turnovers, or unless the weather really gets sloppy or something like that. But if you're able to, each team can run the ball, or at least complete some passes. I'm not talking about anything deep or anything. There certainly could be some points scored on this game. So that any given Sunday, right? Anything can happen. The ball bounces the wrong way against the Bears, or hey, if actually a call or two would go for the Giants' way instead of against the Giants, right? Anything can happen any given Sunday. So it just, a lot of times you start getting into these ruts the way we have been the past, however many, I mean, you go back pretty much to 2017, basic 2017 to 2025, we've had one season. Right? I mean, you're just used to losing. It's like, how are we going to lose this week? Right? Last week was just the defense is just absolutely pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. They given up. I mean, I know Banks has. I know Banks went to the bank and cashed his check. He's out. He's gone. He's cashed himself out for the season. He's just, unfortunately, we have to have him for another season, but it is what it is. That's going to bring me up to one of my points in a little bit here, but it should be a high scoring game. As I said, unless there's a lot of turnovers for some reason, unless the weather really gets nasty and it's just tough to move the ball, but. All right, so we got some numbers here. The Giants will travel to Chicago to face the Bears once again at 1 o'clock at Soldier Field. This will be the 56th regular season between the two teams. The Bears lead the series 31 victories, 22 wins for the Giants, and 2 ties. The last time they met was in Week 4, 2022 at MetLife Stadium, when the Giants defeated the Bears 20-12. Giants' most recent trip to Soldier Field was in Week 17 of 2021. Now, don't forget, in 2022, we beat the Bears by 8. That was one of those many games in 2022 that the Giants won by 1 score. All right, so now for JAXSON DART. Passed for 191 yards, had 2 touchdowns, 1 passing, 1 rushing, and no interceptions. Right? For a career-high 107 rating last week. Became the first rookie in NFL history with a TD pass and a TD run in 4 straight games. And that's with basically no offense. That's no wide receivers. Imagine if we actually had a couple wide receivers to throw the ball to. Well, we do, but some of them just drop the ball a lot. So, right. He joined Cam Newton as the only rookie quarterback with rushing touchdowns in 4 straight games, and joined Newton and Justin Herbert in 2020 as the only rookie quarterbacks with 5+ games with both TD passes and a rushing touchdown. Has a 90+ rating in 5 of his first 6 career starts. Once again, just imagine if we had wide receivers for him to throw the ball to. Devin Singletary had a career-high 51 scrimmage yards, 43 rushing, 8 receiving last week. He had 125 scrimmage yards and a rushing touchdown in his only career game at Chicago, which was in 2022 when he played for Buffalo. Tyrone Tracy has 50+ scrimmage yards and 2 of his past 3 on the road. Wando Robinson led the team with 9 receptions last week, his 4th career game with 9+ catches, although he only had like 40-something yards. He averaged like 5 yards a reception. It's like, Wandell, you run around, do a 5-yard button hook, and I'll hit you. That was pretty much about the extent of it. But did have 9 catches. Let's see. He has 5+ catches in 6 of his past 7 on the road, and is one of 3 NFC wide receivers, Justin Jefferson and Amon-Ra St. Brown, with 18+ games with 5+ receptions since 2024. And look for him once again, especially if we're talking a short game, right? Because throwing those balls deep down the field could be a little treacherous, especially if that wind. It's either. I mean, if it's just strictly blowing in one direction, okay, if it's blowing from behind you, maybe you can take a little bit off of it. If it's blowing right at you, maybe you can throw right into the heart of it, maybe. But it depends. Is the wind blowing around like it used to do at Giant Stadium? Just blow. You don't know if it's blowing this way, if it's coming that way. At the top of the stadium, it's coming this way, but on the field, it's going that way. The wind can be really crazy. So Wandale might have another big game in store for him because their secondary is kind of beat up as well, too. So Wandale should have some chances to get open, especially if he's a short pattern kind of guy. That might be something that Dart will be targeting tomorrow, the short passing game. Wandale does a very good job of getting open. Their defense is not very good. They are very good at taking the ball away, though. So Darius Slayton had a season high in catches, 5, and receiving yards last week, 62. Should have had another reception for a touchdown, too, but anyway, Theo Johnson, speaking of dropping balls, had his 5th receiving touchdown of the season last week. Had a reception, a touchdown, and 2 of his past 3 on the road. Brian Burns is NFL leading 11 sack on the season last week. He's the first player since Daniel Hunter in 2018 with a sack in 8 of his team's first 9 games of the season. That's the one thing. A lot of times with sacks, it comes, sometimes in bunches, they say, like a team, whatever, at the end of the season, 50 sacks. Well, 17 games, that's 3 sacks a game. So you don't get 3 sacks, and then 3 sacks, and then 4 sacks, and then 3 sacks, and then 2 sacks. No, you get 2 sacks, and you don't get any sacks the next game. Then you get 5, then you get 6, then you get 1, then you get 1, then you get 3, then you get 5. It's like the stock market. It goes up and down. But Brian Burns is like a sack this week, a sack. Then he gets a sack. Then he gets a sack. Then he gets this, it's just steady, very steady. But Abdul Carter leads the Giants with pressures. And I think he's in the top 10 in the NFL as far as applying pressures as well. He's not getting the sacks, but he's getting pressure. He has more pressures than Brian Hunter. Brian Hunter. I was thinking about Daniel Hunter and Brian Burns. Abdul Carter has more pressures than Brian Burns does. He has nowhere near the sacks, but he actually has more pressures. Let's see. Bobby Okereke had 14 tackles and his first tackle for loss of the season last week. He ranks fifth in the NFL with 82 tackles. So he's on pace for over 150 tackles on the season. Abdul Carter had his first career fumble recovery last week. Sexy Dexy had his 38th career tackle for loss in week 9. He had 2 sacks in their last meeting. Dane Belton has a season-high 13 tackles last week and aims for his 5th in a row with 5+ tackles. Had his first career fumble recovery in the last meeting. All right, what do we got? So the Bears lead the NFL in takeaways with 19. And a turnover differential of plus 13 and ranks second in rushing yards at 144.4 points yards per game. But so they've taken away the ball 19, and they've only given up 6. So they do a very good job of protecting the ball. But yeah, they take away 19. So they're taking away the ball over 2 times a game, a little over 2 times a game. Caleb Williams had 3 touchdown passes, 114.8 passer rating, and his first career receiving touchdown last week. Became the first player ever with 275 passing yards, 50 or more rushing yards, and a 20-plus receiving yards in a single game, and first player ever with 20-plus completions and 2 receptions in a season. So he had 2 receptions in the game. So a lot of times the Giants are going to have to keep an eye on him, right? Like they hand the ball off. Like he goes and hands the ball. You know, he gets the ball, turns around, hands it off. Right? The running back runs this way, you know, and so Caleb hands the ball off. The running back goes this way, and Caleb just continues out in the flat or whatever out this way. You just can't. Oh, okay, the ball's over there. Let's follow the ball. Okay, Caleb Williams coming right past me. Okay, all right. I'm going to let Caleb go. I'm going to go run after the ball. No, you can't do that. Right? Now, so that works both ways, obviously, especially for the Bears, because they put some stuff on tape. Because Caleb Williams, whatever, starts going out, you know, running away from the play, right? The ball starts going this way. Caleb just starts circling. Well, they put stuff on tape for all the world to say, well, just because he goes out over there doesn't mean he's out of the play. No, they could turn around and throw the ball to him. Right? So whether they do it or not, that gives the Giants something to think about. If Caleb or whatever starts going out over this way or he goes out over that way, whatever, keep an eye on him. Follow him. Because he's a good athlete, but I mean, it doesn't mean he's not going to get a pass. But it works both ways. Because even if he's not going to get a pass, if he just starts heading out that way, right, one to one of the sides or whatever, he might draw a defender away from the play. Because you have to be conscious of Caleb going out, whatever, to the sides and maybe drawing the defender away. Let's see here. Swift had 60-plus scrimmage yards in each of his 7 games this season. Aims for his 3rd in a row at home with 75-plus scrimmage yards. Let's see. The one running back, Kyle Monange, had 198 scrimmage yards last week, 176 rushing, 22 receiving last week. Most rushing yards by Chicago rookies since Anthony Thomas in 2001, at 188. So, but once again, we're talking about the Bengals defense, which is just as much trash as the Giants defense is. So, Rome Odunze has a receiving touchdown in 2 of his 3 home games this season. DJ Moore, his first receiving touchdown season last week. Colston Loveland, rookie, their tight end, is doing very good. Had 6 catches for 118 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns last week. Tremaine Edmonds, their linebacker, had career high tying 4th interception of the season last week. He's a linebacker. Halfway through the season, he has 4 interceptions already. Another linebacker, TJ Edwards, has 3 pass defense in the past 3 games. Montez Sweat, the defensive lineman, has 4th sack of the season last week. Austin Booker had a sack and forced fumble in season debut last week. In his season debut last week, Kevin Byard aims for his third in a row at home with an interception. C.J. Gardner-Johnson had his fifth career sack in Chicago in his debut. His fifth career sack in his Chicago debut last week. And Nashawn Wright, another defensive back, had his fourth interception of the season last week. And he has 5 passes defense in the past 4 games. So, they got some guys, obviously in the secondary who, obviously defend the pass, but also pick it off as well, too. But, they've given up, a lot. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. 2025 Chicago Bears. Yeah, right, let's see. What have they scored? So they're 5-3. Right. They've scored 26.9, so basically 27 points per game, which is 6th in the NFL. So they can put up some points. Their problem is they're giving up 28 points per game, which is 29th in the league. The problem is for the Giants. I think the Giants are just about as bad as the Bears are as far as giving up points. So both these defenses giving up points. And you also figure that the other thing, too, you can kind of look at it kind of both ways with the Bears. They've given up like 28 points or so a game, which is horrible. But if they weren't taking the ball, they didn't take the ball away 19 times. Quite possibly, they'd be giving up over 30 points a game. So the Giants can, knock on wood, can move the ball. Will they? Will they self-destruct? Will they have a bunch of down? Who knows? But Giants, possibility of moving the ball. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, then we got some things here, things to watch. Okay, I'm going to go over the injury report in just a second here. Can JAXSON DART continue his historic start? Last week's loss to the 49ers, JAXSON DART completed a season-high 72.7% of his passes, totaling just 191 yards, though, 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. The rookie quarterback also added 8 carries for 56 yards, an additional touchdown on his way to making history. Dart set a new franchise record with 5 games with at least 1 passing touchdown and 1 rushing touchdown. He also became just the 3rd rookie in NFL history to have as many games with both a passing and rushing score. The strong performance came right after Dart was named the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Month. In 4 October games, Dart threw for 7 touchdowns, accounted for 10 total touchdowns, and had a passer rating of 90. All of which were the most among NFL rookies. He is now up to 15 total touchdowns with just 3 interceptions across his 6 starts. And once again, you look at some of these other, these other teams. Well, look what like last week, right? When you had Burrow, but he's throwing it to Higgins, and he's throwing to Jamar Chase, right? Dart's dropping back, and he's throwing it to Slayton, Bo Collins, Gunnar Olszewski, Wandale Robinson, Theo Johnson, Daniel Bellinger, Chris Manhertz, Thomas Fedoni. Those he's throwing the ball to. Imagine if he had 2 number 1 wide receivers out there running around. Once again, that stuff opens stuff up for everything. Because you can't just start, crowding, crowding the box and all that and everything. Right? It starts opening stuff up. Slowing down the run. Easier said than done. The defensive struggles to slow down the run game continued this past weekend against the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey and Brian Robinson both combined for 159 yards on the ground and a 4.8 average yards per carry, with both backs recording a rushing touchdown along with 3 runs of 10-plus yards. Now, the thing is, not that you ever want to give up those kind of numbers. I get it. But it's, once again, it's not okay. However, if the 49ers were averaging 5 yards a carry the whole season and all of that, it's like, well, they do run the ball well, and they ran the ball last week, so they did what they do well, so you just tip your cap to, no. They were averaging like 3.4 yards a carry, 3.5 yards a carry going into the game. So then they averaged almost 5 yards a carry against. I mean, it's like, you got a team that can't run the ball, and then they come in and they just punch you in the mouth, and they average almost 5 yards a carry. That's really, really embarrassing. Giants have now surrendered an average of 192 rushing yards per game over the last 3 weeks, leading to the unit ranking 31st in total rushing yards and 32nd in rushing yards per attempt. Through 9 weeks, the Bears have been one of the most run-heavy teams in the NFL with 235 total rushing attempts. I like that. I can appreciate that. With it looking like the weather could play a factor in Chicago on Sunday, expect the Bears to lean heavily into their run game. After missing last week's game due to a groin injury, running back DeAndre Swift returned to practice this week and was a full participant on Thursday. So now they have 2 very good running backs. The veteran leads the Bears with 464 yards on 100 carries, 4.64 yards per carry. Very solid. I mean, fantastic season. And 4 touchdowns while adding 18 receptions for 192 yards and an additional score. With Swift sidelined last week, the rookie running back led the backfield with an impressive 26 rushing attempts for 176 yards, 6.8 yards per carry, and finished with 198 yards from scrimmage. Whew. Unbelievable. Players to watch. Theo Johnson. Since Dart took over as the starting quarterback, Johnson has a team-high 5 touchdowns. Meanwhile, his 26 receptions are the second most on the team. Now, let's not forget, that's about what he had last season, Theo Johnson. Now, just imagine if he would catch all the balls that he should be catching. He might have about 30 receptions right now. I think he had 29 receptions last year before he got injured. So he does seem to be, maybe getting a little better. Once again, having these receptions is nice and all. That's all cute. But when you get balls that you should catch them. Okay. But so he's on pace for, whatever. About 50 receptions on the season. Not bad. Right? He's not setting no NFL record, but that wouldn't be bad. For the offense that we have, a rookie quarterback, we have no big time weapons at all or anything. If he winds up with 50 receptions on the season, it's not bad. He had 29 last year, and so almost doubling it this year. The Bears have been unable to contain opposing tight ends recently, so look for him to have a good game. As tight ends from the Bengals, Ravens, and Saints combined for 15 receptions for 201 yards and 2 touchdowns over the last 3 weeks. So, if Theo winds up with about 5 receptions or so, don't be surprised. Bellinger also has an opportunity to contribute Sunday after returning to practice as a full participant. So look for the tight ends to be nice contributors this week, especially in the short game. All right, we're going to watch matchup to watch. You got Burnsy versus their left tackle, Theo Benedict. Burns entered week 10 with 11 sacks on the season, with at least 1 sack in 8 of the 9 games and multiple sacks in 3 games. This week he will be matched up against Benedict. I hope I'm saying that right. Who has allowed just 1 sack but 15 total pressures since being inserted into the starting lineup in week 4. So he gives up some pressures. Now he gives up, you figure what? You figure week 4, he's played for maybe 5 games or so, somewhere around there. He's given up 15. So he gives up about 3 pressures a game. So Bennett allowed 5 pressures against the Bengals last week and was called for 2 penalties. So this might be something that the Giants can take advantage of. Bears quarterback Caleb Williams has an average time to throw of over 3 seconds, 3.24 seconds this season, which is the longest average by a qualified quarterback in a season over the past decade. So when he gets back there, he holds on to the ball. He gets time to throw, and he holds on to the ball. So going to watch Roma Dunze. Dunze started the season off hot with 5 touchdowns in Chicago's first 4 games, while the second-year wideout did not catch a single pass against the Bengals last week, and that's hard to believe. I even caught a touchdown pass against the Bengals last week. I mean, so that's hard to believe, but he did register a 7-catch, 114-yard performance just the week before. Dunzier leads the Bears in targets, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns as he serves as the focal point of the passing game. Caleb Williams will likely look to get the young receiver involved early after last week's goose egg. So, with the Giants secondaries banged up as it is, the Bears could have a field day. But we'll have to wait and see. All right, so the Bears lead the NFL with 19 takeaways, including a league-high 13 interceptions. 13. Giants, I think, have like half that interceptions. So they have turned those extra possessions into 46 points. So they're turning. So you figure they've only played 8 games actually, because they're 5-3. So they must have had their bye. So those 8 games, they're 46 points. So they're turning them into, what would that be? Like an extra 6 points. 6 points a game. So basically they're turning those all of those turnovers that they do wind up getting, into 46 extra. So basically about a touchdown a game they're getting, averaging off of those turnovers. So, and once again, in the very competitive NFL that we have, 6 points, it's a 1-score game right there. So, protecting the ball will be paramount tomorrow for the Giants. Giants have turned the ball over 9 times on the season, which ranks 13th in the league, which is very good. But you figure if you take that one game out, of course you can. But if you took that one game out and there's 8 other games, they've only turned the ball over 4 times. That's really good. Let's see. Outside of the 5 turnover game in New Orleans, the Giants have turned the ball over just once in the 5 other games since JAXSON DART took over as quarterback. So they turned the ball over just 1 time in 5 other games. So he's, obviously he's 6 games, right? He had the 1 5 turn, but in the other 5 games, they've turned the ball over 1 time. Very, very impressive. As I said, that will be huge, tomorrow for the Giants. And if the Bears win, you make them earn it, right? Make them go down the field and score a touchdown, right? Don't give them a short field. No pick 6, no strip sack where they pick it up running back for a touchdown. No, obviously no block punts. Don't let them run a kickoff. Nothing like it. Make them earn the points. And if they do it that, you tip your cap. It's just the whole coaching staff is just, except for maybe one guy. I mean, by the end of the season, a lot of them, not all, maybe not all, but a lot of them, they're just, they're dead men walking. They're just time, It's just a matter of time for many of them are bye-bye. So, but obviously, one thing that's not going to help the Giants tomorrow is now, they've ruled out 6 players, and one of them is doubtful. So there's a good chance that 7 other players won't be participating in the game tomorrow. But they did activate or elevate 4 from like the practice squad and all of that. Right. But so the Giants, a lot of guys that are out. So that right around now would be a real good time for the Giants to get their bye week, but they got to wait about another. I think they have to wait another 4 months for their bye week. So I think their bye week is like in March sometime after the season's over with. So, but right about now would be a real good time for the Giants to, get their bye week and maybe get some guys back. But the Giants haven't caught a break all season long. Why catch a break now, right? When things are going bad, just have them keep going bad. So the Giants. All right, here we go. Injury report. There we go. Take a look at the injury report for the Giants, which currently includes 19 players. obviously Graham Gano, he's out. So Young Ho Koo will be kicking. John Michael Schmitz, he's out with a shin. So it looks like we're going to have Austin Schlottman. Now, the last time he stepped in for JMS, he didn't do too bad. So that's not much of a drop-off. Darius Muasow, he's out with an ankle. So now the inside linebackers is taking another hit. Paulson Adebo, he's out with a knee. Chauncey Golston, he's out for the 315th straight week with a neck. Why? I have no idea. The guy has not been put on IR. I have no idea. The guy hasn't played, I think, since like week 3 or so or whatever. Why he's still on this ride? Not on injured reserve. No idea. Every week he's out with a neck. Every week. I know. It also gets to the point too. I understand why you want to keep. Maybe it's like, well, maybe this week Chauncey Golston will be back. Maybe this week he'll be back. Well, won't put him on. Maybe he'll be back this week. But if you got somebody, like on the practice squad or something like that, you can because it's going to start getting to the point where it's like, okay, we know Chauncey Golston. Okay, he's hurt. If he plays or not, it's not going to save our season. We're not going to the Super Bowl. We ain't going to playoffs, whether he plays it or not. It's going to start getting to the point where it's like it's going to be more important if you have somebody on the practice squad or something, right? Like Elijah Chapman, right? Elevate one of those guys. Get those guys in there and get them some good quality reps. Right? It might help them out for next season. Right? So you got some guys lingering on a practice squad that just sitting there foaming at the mouth wanting to play. And for some reason, you still got Chauncey Golston every week being declared out with a neck. Anyway. Bo Collins, he's out with a neck. This is the year of the neck for the Giants. He injured his neck last week on a special teams play, and he has not participated in practice at all, so he's out. Victor Dimukeje, another outside linebacker, he's the one who's doubtful. So we got Collins, Golston, Adebo, Muasow, John Michael Schmitz, and Gano. They're out, and then Victor Dimukeje, he's doubtful with the shoulder. Now, Javon Holland, he's questionable with the knee. Jermaine Illuminor, last week, I think he was doubtful, Well, he's been upgraded to, or upgraded down, however you want to look at it. He's now questionable, so there's a chance he might play. He has a pec injury. It's not torn or anything, but he has an injury. But last week, I think he was doubtful. This week, at least he's questionable, so he's trending in the right direction. Although, once again, the same kind of thing there. You know what Illuminor can do, right? You know what you got from him. Okay, so if he doesn't play, okay, get Marcus Bowen there. Once again, I don't want to sound like Debbie Downer, so if I do, I apologize. Please forgive me. Nancy negativity, once again, I apologize, right? But once again, I'm sorry. I'm a jackwagon. I apologize. But the season's over. Okay. If Illuminor's a little sore with the back, if we need you, we're going to give you a call. We're going to put Marcus Bowe in there. The reps that Marcus Bowe is going to get is going to be invaluable. We drafted the guy in the 5th round. I think he led the Giants with, it was like 82 run blocking grade. I think he let up a couple pressures, against the 49ers, but I think he had 82 run blocking grade. So we got to put Bowe in there. Put Bowe in there. Once again, these reps for these guys are going to be invaluable. You drafted Bowe. Get him some reps. Then we got Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. He has a pectoral. Once again, another inside linebacker. So we have between Micah McFadden, Muasau, and Flanagan Fowles, our inside linebackers, are, I guess like 3 of our top 4 inside linebackers, they're injured. Dane Belton, he's got a neck. Once again, the year of the neck. This is the year of the neck for the Giants. He's got a neck, but he's once again, he's questionable. So hopefully he's trending in the right direction where he might be able to play. Daniel Bellinger, once again, it's the year of the neck. So Daniel Bellinger has a what? Yep, he's got a neck injury. Shocking, I know. He's questionable. Andrew Phillips, he's got a calf, and he's questionable. So it looks like hopefully he'll play. We have Andrew Thomas with a shoulder. Andrew Thomas had a rest day. Theo Johnson has a shoulder. Neville Hewitt with another linebacker. He's got a foot. So it's like all of our inside linebackers, they're all like injured. Cordell Flott passed the concussion protocol, so he's looking like he's going to wind up playing, which would be thank goodness. Thomas Fedoni, he had a foot. Raheem Nunez Roches, he's got an elbow. So so that's what about half the Giants rosters is on the injury list. All right. So do I have this here? Hold on here. Okay. All right. So the Giants did wind up making a few roster moves here. They activated 4 players and sent 2 to the injured reserve. So the injury reserve is Darius Muasau and Bo Collins. So now 2 of our Micah McFadden and Darius Muasau, middle linebackers, are on injury reserve. And Bo Collins, injury reserve. Free agent signings from the Giants practice squad, Zaire Barnes and Toman Fox. And then activated from the practice squad, which would be like a standard elevation, Jung Ho Koo and Ray McLeod. So Ray McLeod, once again, just because, they'll be on the 53 does not necessarily mean they're going to wind up dressing, right? But Ray McLeod got elevated or activated from the practice squad once again for the second consecutive week. So we'll say last week he had 1 catch for 5 yards. So we'll see if he gets any more into the game. We'll have to wait and see. But let's not forget Ray McLeod is a wide receiver, but he's also a return man too. So, but the Giants, a lot of guys banged up, a lot of guys. But then again, that's a yearly occurrence for the Giants. Yeah, a lot of guys banged up and then try to go out and win football games, right? But one guy. Oh, what NFL team is your favorite? The New York Football Giants. You got it, brother. But one guy. This is. If you looked, between Adebo getting injured, not necessarily, I'm going to say, living up to what he got paid, and then we got Banks. We need to bring this guy back, Mr. Flott. Now, of course, a lot of times you see sometimes on these when it's contract years for some of these players, magically they really elevate their game in that contract year. Well, he's done that. He's really done that, and he's earned himself a nice little payday. Now, how much? How much? We'll have to wait and see. Well, you're probably right. Probably we're going to lose. We've lost 7 out of 9 games this year. So if we lost, I wouldn't be surprised one bit. Not one bit. But if we do lose, you guys are going to help us keep us a top 5 draft pick. So if I'm up for that, I'll sign me up for that. But Mr. Flott here, he's earned himself. He's Giants under the radar star has thrown massive wrench in the long-term plans. Flots of money is coming his way. Not lots, but flots. Aha! You see what they did there? Flots of money. Now, the one thing is here, is it'll be very, very interesting. That's one of the things here. When you bring in a new coach, you bring in a Yeah, have to wait and see. Do we bring in a new GM or not? Does Shane stick around? Do they wind up canning him as well too? We'll have to wait and see. And it's going very. Oh yeah, that's why. It said the weather. Weather could be playing a big factor. Oh yeah, I heard definitely wind. Yeah, so that could really play some heck on the passing game. Yeah, but you guys have been running the ball real well, and we can't stop the run for nothing. So it just seems like if you guys can't throw the ball, especially if you can't throw deep or not like that, you guys should be able to run the ball because for whatever reason we can't stop the run for nothing. It's really embarrassing, really embarrassing. So they said, if you asked 100 Giant fans before the season who they expected to be the best player in the secondary, quite possibly none of them would have answered with Cordell Flott. But he has been. While it doesn't help to see Javon Holland and Paulson Adebo hurt, the 24-year-old has broken out in a major way this season. Since beating out Deonte Banks for the cornerback number 2 job, the fourth-year corner has been one of the lone bright spots for the Shane Bowens group. I mean, Burns and Flott have been pretty much like the two, right? The two bright spots. Now, Carter's been a good bright spot as well, too. Akarakay's got a lot of tackles. But that's why it was no surprise when Pro Football Focus Bradley Locklear labeled Flott the most pleasant surprise for a Giants defense among the worst, as the Giants defense among the worst in the NFL. Flott's 79.6 coverage grade is fourth among all cornerbacks who have played 200-plus snaps and is surrounding just a 62.6 passer rating when targeted, which ranks eighth among qualified cornerbacks. And to make things even more interesting, his breakout campaign has come in a contract year. Well, once again, that happens a lot. It's amazing the way that happens. Cordell Flott is practically forcing the Giants to award him with a contract extension. I mean, if you let the guy go, I don't know. Yeah, that'd be crazy. Right? Because we got Banks for next season, one more year. We certainly don't want to put that guy out there. So Flott's really forcing the Giants to re-sign him. Saying is that you figure, if the Giants do keep Shane around, Shane knows what Flott's been doing. If we get rid of Dable and we get rid of Shane and we bring a new coaching staff in here, a new GM in here, well, they're going to see Flott. The Giants don't have a ton of money. They're going to see Flott in the contract year, and the Giants, maybe the new GM might be like, do we sign him? I don't know. So at least if Shane stays around, they know what Flott's been doing. He knows he's like one of the best guys this year anyway on the defense. So hopefully, there's a lot of guys that, if Shane sticks around, there's a lot of guys that Shane needs to prioritize re-signing. Micah McFadden, hopefully Dane Belton, as a Flott, possibly Daniel Bellinger. 2022 third-round pick out of LSU, Flott is reminding fans that some breakouts come better late than never. Not every player sets the league on fire in their rookie or sophomore season, but now that he's earned the playing time, he's making it impossible to keep him off the field. His emergence was a key reason Deonte Banks was seeing trade buzz prior to the trade deadline, but Joe Shane wound up keeping the former first-round pick in East Rutherford. But now that he is pursuing a long-term deal, it would put Shane and Brian Dable in a serious pickle this offseason. Well, Dable's not going to be around this offseason, so. Moreover, both Holland and Adebo have struggled while on the field, while Andrew Phillips and Tyler Newman have regressed from last season. So it's Flott who has been the most impressive this season. The sample size is small, so fans should want to see more of the same in the second half of the year. So let's hope that Flott comes back from his concussion and he's able to stay on the field. Let's see what he's got these final 8 games of the season. New York could tag him, but there is no reason to let him walk, especially when he could be retained on a semi-affordable contract. He's only 24 years old right now. He's young. And if that's one thing Shane knows how to do, it's effectively negotiating free agent deals. Something worth noting is that it would be a complete shock if Bowen is somehow still, there's no way he's the defensive coordinator entering next season. But it would be just as surprising if Dable and Shane are still employed by Big Blue if their losing streak continues. That being said, Bowen is a complete hack. So it begs the question that what the youngster could accomplish under an actual qualified defensive coordinator. That's true. I mean, that is true. Let me share my screen here and just show you what Flott's been doing here. Yeah, I mean he's gotten better. I mean, but this according to PFF. Let me just I preface by saying that. Let me share my screen here, and I'll show you. I mean, how he has progressed and how Deonte Banks has regressed. Now, this is Flott this season. He's at a 70. Now, once he got injured against Philadelphia, so I'm not sure if this had anything that, with his concussion, right, his coverage and all that, if him getting injured had anything to do with this. But he's had some really very impressive games here. But he's at a 75.9. But you look, right? Yeah, he got injured too. So that was some of the reason why some of these snap counts are not very high. He did have some injuries, but he was also a backup sometimes as well. But being pretty much primarily the starter this season in a contract year, of course, 75.9 is by far the best. His coverage grade, 79.6. He's never been a cornerback number one, so we've never put him on like Justin Jefferson or nothing like that, right? So, but you look, all right, his coverage rate is like an 80. Very, very impressive. Now what do we got here? Yeah, this is okay. It's very respectable. He's missed 3 tackles on the season, according to PFF, which is a 10.7. Right? You would like it a little bit more, a little less than that, yeah, but still, 10.7 is not too bad. He's been targeted 39 times, given up 21 completions. He's given up about a 50% completion percentage, which is really, really good. 11.7 yards per reception. He's only given up 55 yards. So basically 21 receptions, he's given up 55 yak yards. So basically he's given up like 2.5 yards of yak after every reception, which is like nothing. So, he's maybe given up some receptions here and there, but he's pretty much been right on there on the receiver to make a tackle. So, once again, a really good season for him. Now I'll show you what Banks. Now let's not forget. Okay, Flott, according to PFF, once again, Flott is at a 75. Let's look at what Deonte Trash Banks. He's about 30 points less. All right, so Flott is a 75. Trash Banks is a 45. Right here, 45. Overall defensive grade, 45. And you'll look, and he has just gotten worse every season. He was a 51, then he went down to about a 51. Then this season, a 45, a first-round pick. And he's averaging a 45. And, the one thing it's bad enough, the way he's playing that and all and everything. But one of the things is that which really just digs at you, really, is his effort. I mean, like that one touchdown run when he just kind of went in there and just kind of bumped up against Robinson. Let me make it look like I'm trying to do something here. And then, of course, Robinson hits him and Flott falls to the ground. Not Flott, Banks falls away from him. Robinson runs. It's just his effort. It's like, dude, what the are you doing? I mean, what are you doing? Just really absolutely pathetic. You were kind of hoping that, it's like, all right, Banks, you were a former first round pick. We're not handing nothing to you. All right. We brought in, right, a Debo. He's cornerback number 1 now. You, my friend, you are now in a fight for cornerback number 2. We're going to have Flott and we're going to have you going head to head. The better man win. Whoever is the better man, they're going to be cornerback number 2. Debo is 1. You're paying him a lot of money. He's not earning it, right? But he's cornerback number 1. So whoever between Flott and Banks, better man wins. You figure that would light some kind of a fire underneath him. Nope. So just that's what really gets you. I mean, if you can see the guy out there just, giving it his all and trying and stuff like that, okay. I mean, when you're a pro football player, and especially when you're in the secondary, you're like the last line of defense. You got to know how to tackle. Some guys know how to tackle. They just don't want to do it. I'm not, it's like Deion Sanders. Tackle, business decision. I could get hurt, So some people seem to be making those business decisions. Well, I go in there and get tagged. I mean, I hurt a shoulder or something. I don't want to be doing that. So, but yeah, you're the last line of defense. You need to be able to tackle. And I mean, there's no excuse why he didn't. I mean, at least grab a hold of a leg. Don't let go. Maybe you're not the one maybe driving him into the ground, but hold on to him. The cavalry's coming. Right? Somebody will be there and help bring him down. Just hold, But just a guy to go in there and just kind of bump off of him. It's like, what's wrong with you, man? That's what really, really, really gets you. It just seems like the lack of effort. So, but Flott has got to be one of those guys. The Giants have some money. They can certainly let some players go and free up some extra money. But the Giants do have a lot of guys in-house that they do need to re-sign, or at least think about re-signing. Right? Especially from that 2022 draft class, because we had like 800 picks in that draft. Now, some of them didn't pan out too well, like Evan Neal, but some of them did. And now it's time to pay the piper. Some of those draft picks, right, you draft them, you develop them, and you keep them. Well, we drafted them. We developed some of them. As I said, Belton, not bad. Bellinger's not bad. I mean, these guys are not going to command a ton of money. Right? Maybe DJ Davidson. I said, Mike, let's not forget about Micah McFadden. I mean, he played, I don't know, he played 10 snaps in the season. Bam, the season's over with. But you can see how the running game is really taking a hit. It's not all because of him, but he's one of the reasons why he's very, very good at the run game. But like him and Okereke next to one another, they're very, very good in the middle of the field. But with McFadden out, he's another one of the guys we want to sign. It's a Flott. Like I said, once again, a lot of these guys, that from the 2022 draft class are not going to command a ton of money. So I think it would be a priority for the Giants to bring a lot of these guys back. But that's going to be one of those things, who the GM is. Is it going to be Shane or is it going to be somebody else? So that we'll have to wait and see. And speaking of maybe making some changes, now if Shane goes, that'll be after the season's over. But one change we could make in season, which might make a little bit of sense, would be, now, the season's over with, right? There's stuff to look forward to every week. I mean, obviously, obviously the development of JAXSON DART. Let's see how many sacks can Burns get, how many pressures can Abdul Carter get. Just a lot of little things. Maybe we might win a couple games. Who knows? But the season's pretty much over. And if you have, a good, idea that you're going to let Brian Dable go about 5 seconds after the final game's over with the season, why wait till then? Why not let Dable go now? I mean, because there was also some reports out there that Dable was the second he was walking down out of the airplane, whatever it was, and I guess he got onto the ground after the Denver game. You're out of here. Apparently, he was going to be fired. It wasn't going to be from Shane. Apparently, it was going to be from Mr. Mara. But apparently, I guess they let cooler heads prevail. He sat back, thought about it for a day or whatever, and I guess everything kind of simmered down and whatnot. Because also, one of the things too is that with the development of the most important person on the entire team would be JAXSON DART, trying to keep that continuity going. You got Dart, who's doing pretty good, and he's doing pretty good with a crappy coach, but that crappy coach is maybe also helping Dart. So it's like, well, why get rid of, if the season's over, you're going to get rid of him, but at least maybe keep Dable around long enough, for the remainder of the season, maybe to help Dart out. And this is a big season for them. It was the same thing was with Eli, right? We were 5-2. Kurt Warner was the quarterback. We lost 2 tough games. I think they were both on the road. 2 close games. We lost them both. We went to 5-4. So we were 5-4 in 2004. And they pulled the plug on the season. So we went from 5-4 and they put Eli in there. He lost the first 6 games. Went from 5-4 to 5-10. He won the final game of the season against the Cowboys. But those 6 or 7 games that Eli was in there, and I said they pulled the plug on a chance. The Giants were still in the playoff hunt at 5-4, and they had Kurt Warner as the quarterback. They had a good team. Maybe weren't good enough, maybe to go all the way or whatever, but they had a good team. Certainly had a chance of making the playoffs, but they pulled the plug on the season, put Eli in there. But those reps that he got were invaluable. They were so valuable that the next 4 seasons we made the playoffs. The very next, Eli was 1-6 as a starter in 2004. Well, the next season we went to the playoffs. 2006 we went to the playoffs. 2007 we got a playoff. 2000. I just kidding. 2008 we won. So those reps were very, very valuable to Eli Manning. The same thing with JAXSON DART. Even in these losses, that works out pretty good now because we got. We pulled Russell Wilson out. JAXSON DART got put in there in week 4. So you go from week 4, as long as he doesn't get injured, to week 17. He's going to get a lot of snaps, and it's going to be invaluable next season. If we can get Scannaboo back, if we can get another nice draft class, maybe a free agent or so, if we get Malik Neighbors back somewhat healthy, if we can get ourselves another weapon, just think what maybe JAXSON DART can maybe do next season. But Dable's not going to be around for that. But so the thing is like, why not get rid of Dable? And, you have a consistent voice that's always, Kafka's there. He's been there all along. Right? He's the assistant head coach. Chances are Kafka's contract is up after the season's over. Now, whether he comes back with it, I don't know. But every year, the past couple of years, he keeps getting his head coaching job opportunities. Chance, sooner or later, he might become a head coach someplace else. Now, whether the Giants can bring him back next, I don't know. The thing is that if they let go of Dable, a new coach comes in, may not want Kafka. Man, G-Man, what's up, brother? Ready for another Giants game tomorrow, baby? But if they bring in another head coach, are they going to want Kafka? Well, I don't know. I mean, he hasn't gotten himself a job yet, but he's had quite a few coaching interviews. Well, why not see if he can be maybe the coach for the Giants? Right? Instead of just after his contract's up, maybe, I don't say letting him go, but, he may not have no choice because if you bring in another coaching staff, they may not want Kafka around. Right? So he'll find a job someplace. Somebody's going to hire him. If not him getting a head coaching job someplace, who knows? So why not get rid of Dable? So this will be what? We're 2-7. So we'll have 7 games left. So especially if the Giants just stink the joint up, Right? I hope not. Or, whatever. We lose 35-20 and it's just embarrassing once again. We're not going anywhere. The Titanic hit the iceberg. It's going down. Right? Why not get rid of Dable? Bring in Kafka. See what he can do. And see if he can, we have 7 games. Maybe we go 3-4, 4 maybe. We got a couple games at the end of the season against the Cowboys and the Commanders. Maybe we win those games at home or something like that. Maybe, if Kafka's on the sideline, he is the assistant head coach. A couple games at the end of the season, we're beating the Cowboys, we beat the Commanders, right? Mr. Mara's feeling pretty good about that. Who knows? Maybe Kafka can right this ship. Who knows? I mean, he was a quarterback. He was there with Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. Because there's a good chance that if the Giants don't do something with him, somebody else is going to get him. Now, that doesn't mean if they let Dable go that they won't at least, bring Kafka in for an interview. That's a possibility. But, I mean, why not at least let him try, see what he can do now? Because Dable is gone. He's gone. Why not see what Kafka can do? I mean, Kafka's been there. I mean, they're not going to change the offense around the line. You can't do that. You can maybe add a couple plays in each week or something like that. I mean, you don't run the same exact plays every, you change it up a little bit. But, I mean, for the most part, the philosophy and all that, it'd be pretty much the same. You can't really do that right now. But Kafka's been there. Kafka's there right now. If Kafka can ride the season out, if Kafka can wind up being the coach, maybe you wind up hiring him at the end of the season. Right? Kafka can keep the quarterback, coach, and everybody still with the team with JAXSON DART. He feels, still have that familiarity there. I'm sure he'll bring in some of his own, his play calling and all and everything, but it'd be worth a try. I mean, it would stink because after this season's up, I think I saw he was making about $3 million a season, which is one of the most expensive offensive coordinators in all of football. But he is also an assistant coach too. But the Giants also made him an assistant coach too, so he couldn't take like a lateral job. Just go from offensive coordinator from the Giants to an offensive coordinator to another team. They keep him around for a reason. Well, why would you? He wants to be a coach. Why at least just figure out, see. And the one thing is that it kind of going back to Spags, kind of like put his stamp of disapproval, the team's stamp of disapproval. Because Spags was with the Giants, and he was the offensive, the defensive coordinator for the Giants, obviously in Super Bowl 42, and I think after 2008 too. Then he went to the Rams, and oh my God, I think he was there for like 3 years or something. He had one good year, but he had 2 years that were oh my God. Once again, whatever. 75-80% of the guys who become head coaches are very good coordinators. They're not head coaching material. That's Spags. The dude up here with his defense, all very, very, He won a Super Bowl with the Giants. He won some with the of course, Eli Manning, of course, helped. And of course, he won some Super Bowls with the Chiefs before having Patrick Mahomes help too. But still, he won some Super Bowls. But the thing was when after we let McAdoo go, Spags, I think, coached the final 4 games of the 2017 season. He was 1-3. Now, once again, it is very difficult to be like an interim coach because when the season, you got 4 games left, the season's over with. A lot of the guys packed their bags. A lot of the guys have shipped it in or packed it in or whatever you want to call it. It's kind of tough to get to rally the troops. Hey, guys, I know we're 1-29. Let's win this week. Let's win one for the Kipper. It's kind of difficult. I get it. But, they had Spags in there as interim coach for the last 4 games of the 2017 season. He went 1-3. It's just, he's just not a head coach. But let's find out. Let's see what Kafka can do. As I said, after the season's over, I don't know if there may not even be a chance for him to come back here to the Giants. If another head coach comes in and impresses more than Kafka, if Kafka comes in for an interview, if another head coach comes in, if there's one, it's say Belichick or somebody like that comes in and just blows the doors off of somebody, well, Kafka's probably bye-bye. So let's see what he can do right now. After this game, possibly, maybe have 6-7 games or so. Let's see what Kafka can do. Can he rally the troops? Can he make can he get some discipline in this thing? Can maybe get the defense going a little bit better or whatever? See if his coaching style works. And it maybe, right, Kafka might be the coach of the future for the New York Giants. But wouldn't you want to find out that out now instead of letting him go and letting him go to another team and seeing him maybe possibly rebuild another team and doing well at another place? I mean, that's one thing the Giants have. Hey, well, we let Saquon Barkley go. Well, what happened to him? Right? We let Xavier McKinney go. Well, what happened with him? We let Leonard Williams go. He's doing pretty good. So a lot of these guys we let go and they go to another team and they wind up doing pretty well. You want that to happen with Kafka too? Have maybe your next hit. I mean, it could be like the Vince Lombardi kind of thing. Well, let Vince Lombardi go to the Green Bay Packers. Well, what happened there? Right? So I said it's a perfect chance to, kind of rent free. You're paying the guy. Let's see what he's got. Right? If he does well, hey, maybe he's your coach for the future. If he's not, well, hey, thanks for trying, brother. So right? You got like a twofer. Brian Dable's not a head coach, and Kafka tried. He's not a head coach. Okay, let's try somebody else then. But I'd hate to just let the guy go, and right. And the thing is too is that you bring after the season's over with. Say Dable after the final game, right? You fire Dable, he winds up going. You bring Kafka in, and you Shane, if Shane's still here, whoever, talk to him. Oh, okay, yeah, he might do pretty good. Oh, okay, you'll be the coach. Well, he might be good, but you don't know. So now you're hiring a coach. You're going to hire him for a couple of years. You're going to pay him and you don't know if he can do good or not. Well, see, now's your chance. You still got half a season or so left. Bring him in. See what he can do. And then that way, at the end of the season, maybe you kind of know, well, yeah, Kafka's not, no, he's no. Nah, he tried, but no, he's not right for us. Well, maybe he is. Right? So that's something to think about. And then finally, now I've seen this one too. Now this one, little Jordan Humphrey leads the NFL in this key metric. And I'll tell you what, this is a heck of a metric. It kind of makes you wonder why the guy's not getting the ball more. I mean, this is really, really, really impressive. Yeah, I mean, let me pop this up here. A surprising receiver leads the New York Giants in this key metric, but not only leads the Giants in this key metric, he leads the entire NFL in this metric. I'll read this report and then I'll show you. I mean, it's like, it is really surprising. And we got him on the practice squad. Once again, there's all kinds of things. I don't know what's going on with the team and blah, 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 blah. But you look at stuff like this and it kind of makes you scratch your head. So let me read this report and then I'll show you this list here. That's kind of mind-blowing. Surprising receiver leads the Giants in this key metric. The Giants, who are 2-7, opted not to make any deals at the NFL trade deadline, leaving their wide receiver room status quo. And yet, when it comes to receiver separation. Now, obviously the receivers can have separation, and you throw them the ball, and they could drop it or whatever. But one of the biggest things is getting separation. If you can get a separation, if you can get a wide receiver on your team that gets some separation, guess what? That dude's open. Throw him the ball. And especially now we got JAXSON DART. Who did JAXSON DART throw his first touchdown pass ever to? Little Jordan Humphrey. Of course, it was in the preseason. But right, look, some kind of connection going on there. But all right. And yet, when it comes to receiver separation, there is one surprising player who has stepped up when given the opportunity. That would be little Jordan Humphrey, who currently sits on the practice squad after having all three of his standard elevations exhausted. Humphrey boasts a 70.37 separation percentage per Pro Football Focus, with no other giant wideout beating coverage at a higher rate. Obviously, Humphrey's own 88 receiving snaps inflate the data, but the former Texas Longhorn star has found ways to get open when the opportunities have been there. 6'4", receiver is not often going to attain considerable distance between himself and opposing cornerbacks. But the fact that Humphrey has 19 snaps with separation on 27, has 19 snaps with separation on 27 separation opportunities speaks to the versatility he has displayed in spurts with the Giants. So out of 27 possible separation opportunities in these routes, 19 of the 27 times he has created separation between himself and the defender. Over 70%. With his size, and we're not talking, the guy's not 5'3" either. He's 6'4", a big target. With his size and those statistics, one has to wonder why the 27-year-old is not on the active roster after exhausting all his elevations. I mean, it kind of makes you scratch your head. I mean, maybe he's not also as much on special teams as the Giants would like, because they bring somebody up from the practice squad. They also want maybe big time on special. Maybe he's not as quite as good on special teams. I don't know, but and he's not like we elevate him from the practice squad and he's going to get paid $10 million a year. No, he's not getting paid a lot of money. Giants don't have a ton of money, but they can elevate him, put him on the team. And the thing is that Bo Collins got injured, and they elevated somebody. They brought up Ray McLeod once again. Considering the lack of scintillating pass-catching options, such as scenario seems plausible, the emerging Wan'Dale Robinson is the only Giants receiver with at least 5 games played who is averaging more than 50 yards per game. He also is the only pass catcher with 300-plus receiving yards. The offense desperately requires more depth. And, it's as weird as it is, it really as weird as it is, Malik Neighbors is still the number 2 as far as receiving yards on the Giants team. Wan'Dale's number 1. But Malik has been gone for weeks, and he's still number 2 on a Giants team. Humphrey is probably not a playmaker who JAXSON DART and company can rely upon in the long run, but as PFF illustrates, he is clearly displaying one of the most valuable traits a receiver can have. Although the 2019 undrafted talent has only 4 receptions for 55 yards this season, all of which came in Week 6 versus the Eagles, his separation rate suggests that he might transform into an effective red zone threat. Yes, Humphrey has been in the league for a while now and has yet to amass 40 catches or 300 receiving yards in a single campaign, but the Giants should not expect a star to emerge from their group of active wideouts. Nope. They have to experiment a bit and take a shot on unheralded players. Dart's development can suffer greatly if head coach Brian Daboll and general manager Joe Shane do not provide him with a functional supporting cast offense. Robinson and Darius Slayton are supplemental pieces, as is Humphrey. The best New York can do now is assemble the most competent wide receiver unit possible. Maybe, just maybe, a practice squad dweller falls under the umbrella. The Giants do decide to add Humphrey to their roster for the remainder of the season. Maybe he gets more opportunities to build on his impressive sample size. The franchise has a little to lose at this point. It's absolutely ridiculous. We have absolutely nothing to lose. But let me show you. He leads the league in separation rate. All right, let me share my screen here. I gotta. Okay, here we go. So, little Jordan Humphrey, number one. Now, I don't know all the players on all the teams, but I'm going to scroll down here to the next New York Giant on this list, and I have no idea who this person is. No idea. But let me just go show you here. Right? What is separation percentage? We got this here. Whoops. NFL separation report. The best receivers at beating coverage to get open. It's never too early to start preparing for next season. And for PFF, that means looking at ways to improve PFF premium stats. One way we're looking to enhance the experience is by introducing more data into the mix. Last season, we presented our separation percentage for receivers to see who created space and made an impact downfield. Here is how the league's pass catchers have fared this season. And look who's number one. Well, what is separation percentage? Separation percentage measures how often a receiver beats the coverage to get open rather than benefiting from a defense more focused on limiting yards after the catcher, stopping them short of the first down. So, instead of what would you say? They drop back into like a zone coverage. They drop back just short of the sticks, and little Jordan Humphrey runs a 3-yard button hook, catches the ball. Well, they gave him separation, but then he catches the ball 7 yards short of the sticks, and they come up and make a tackle, right? But when given the opportunity to be right running with somebody, he creates separation. He's the number one guy in the whole league. Once again, it's a real small sample size, but still. All right. This metric is not limited to just targeted routes. Instead, it looks at all routes run where defense tries to prevent a receiver from getting open. But once again, look who's number one. Regular season to date, minimum 27 opportunities. Look who's number one at getting open. Little Jordan Humphrey. He's had 88 receiving snaps. He's had separation opportunities, I think this is. It's 27 receiving separation chance of getting open, separating from a defender. 27 times. 19 of those 27 times he got separation, which is a separation rate of 70.37%, which is number one in the league. DeAndre Hopkins, I guess, has been hurt. He's had 84 receiving snaps. He's had 40. There we go. Where are we at there? Oh, there we are, way over here. And he's 28%, which is 70%. But little Jordan Humphrey is number one separation percentage in the entire league. Once again, he's had a very small sample size. Other guys that, who's this here? Jahan Dotson, who's at 201 for the Eagles. He's had a very good high separation percentage too, 63%. But little Jordan Humphrey, number one in the entire separation percentage, 70.37%. 27 times this season, he's had opportunities to create separation on a route between him and a defender. 19 of those 27 times, he has been successful at creating separation, 70.37% of the time. And where is he? He's on the Giants practice squad. But Listen, I don't know all the players in the league. Okay, so but once I have no idea who this is. So let's scroll down. Okay, so we got New York Giants here, and I don't know if this was supposed to be a Jet or something. I don't know. Once again, but if we scroll down, we got the New York Giants number one. We scroll down. Let's find the next New York Giant. I have no idea who this is. Ryan Florney? No idea. Maybe is he with the New York Jets? Maybe I have no idea. But he's creating separation 57.14% of the time. Whoever Ryan Florney is, no idea. Let's see. Do we have anybody else? Any Giants? Okay, Theo Johnson. He is 52.38%. Anybody else for the Giants? Let's see. Where's the next Giant guy out there? Whoops. Got a lot of guys. Wan'Dale Robinson, what's he at? 41.49. So, yeah. We don't got a lot of guys that create a ton of separation. But one thing the Giants do have is we have the number one guy in all of football who creates the most separation. I mean, it just goes to show, it's just crazy. Number one guy at the top of the list. I'll get up there sooner or later. Hold on. Any day now. There you go, number one. Little Jordan Humphrey. Leads the league in separation percentage, 70.37% of the time. And once again, as I said, I mean, it's like, where is he? He's on the Giants practice squad. Yeah, they've elevated him, I believe it was 3 times. So if they were going to elevate little Jordan Humphrey one more time, they would have to sign him to the active 53-man roster, which would cost a little bit of money, but he's not making a lot of money. The Giants have enough money. They could bring him up and sign him on the 53. But instead of bringing him up, they brought up Ray McLeod, who last week got 1 reception for 5 yards. But we'll have to wait and see. Possibly Ray might have a bigger role this week in the game. Obviously, they have reasons why. But it would be a shame. You got little Jordan Humphrey there has been creating separation, which would actually help JAXSON DART out. And we got the guy on the practice squad. So once again, one of those things that make you go, All right, guys. Well, it's been 1 hour and 33 minutes. You guys, hey, Minute G, man. Go Giants, baby. Right? So thanks for hanging in there with me. So, hey, that's anything can happen on any given Sunday. So let the games begin. So once again, guys, it's been 1 hour and 34 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants! Woo! Oh, yeah. Thank you.